Hey there. Ever find yourself like pushing and pushing, giving it your all, but you're stuck? You know that feeling. It's like you're in quicksand. Today, we're going to deep dive into something that might seem a little counterintuitive. The power of walking away.
Yeah, that kind of goes against everything we're told, right? Like perseverance, grit, never give up. But sometimes knowing when to step back, well, that's the real strategic move.
It's like if you're in a hole, stop digging. But how do we even know we're in that hole in the first place? And when's the right time to put the shovel down?
It's tough, right? Especially if you've put in the time, energy, and maybe even emotions. But there's one sign, I think, that feeling of just being drained. You're pouring in effort, but you get nothing back, like trying to pump up a tire with a hole in it.
So it's more than just like hitting a roadblock or a challenge. It's that feeling of just spinning your wheels,
Yeah,
getting nowhere.
yeah, exactly. And often, that feeling is tied to things or people or even just ways of thinking that aren't really doing us any favors anymore, but we hold on out of habit, out of fear, maybe even feel like we have to.
It's like when you're in a job that's so wrong for you, but you stick with it because you don't want to be a quitter, let people down.
Exactly. We're told quitting is failing. But what if it's actually self-preservation? Like, what if it's stronger to recognize when something's just not right? When it doesn't fit your values, your goals?
That's a good way to look at it because holding on to something that's dragging you down,
Hmm.
whether it's work, a relationship, even a thought that's holding you back, it can really cost you.
It can, really. Think about the opportunities you miss. When you're clinging to what's not working, you're shutting yourself off to new things.
Yeah, it's like you're so focused on that one closed door, you miss all the open windows the other ways around.
Right. And the emotional toll, too. Holding on to resentment, disappointment, anger, it sucks the energy right out of you.
It's like carrying a backpack full of rocks,
Hmm.
weighs you down, makes it so much harder to, just move through life.
And here's the thing. We're kind of wired to resist change, even when it's good for us. Ever heard of the sunk cost fallacy? You keep investing in something even when it's a bad idea because you've already put so much into it.
So you double down on a losing bet because you've already lost too much. But wouldn't it make more sense to just cut your losses and invest somewhere else?
Logically, yeah. But emotions get in the way. We get attached to what we know, even if it's hurting us, because the unknown is scary. We worry what people think, if we'll regret it, if we can handle the change.
It's almost like we're taught to think that persevering means never giving up no matter what. But what if the real strength is knowing when to let go, when to walk away from what's not good for you?
Now, there's the question, isn't it? And it's not always easy to answer. But I think it starts with really understanding yourself, your needs, your values, and those little signs that maybe it's time for something new.
So it's about listening to that inner voice that's saying, hey, this isn't right anymore. Even when it goes against everything we've been told about success and never giving up.
Exactly. You got to trust your gut, even when it seems counterintuitive. And you know what? One of the most powerful tools we have for all this, that simple little word, no.
The two-letter word that can feel impossible to say. But why is no so important when we're talking about walking away?
Well, no is all about boundaries. It's about protecting your time, your energy, your well-being. You got to recognize you can't be everything to everyone.
I think a lot of us, me included, we want to make everyone happy. We say yes even when we don't want, because we don't want to disappoint, we don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah, but that leads to burnout. You're
Yeah.
always giving, giving, giving. You end up exhausted, overwhelmed, and honestly resentful.
So saying no is actually self-care. It's about making sure you have the energy for the things that really matter to you.
Exactly. And it's not just about you either. When you say no to what's not working, you open up space for something better. New opportunities, new people, new experiences.
This is already giving me so much to think about. It's like we're really starting to see the hidden power of walking away, of embracing that no, to reclaim your time, your energy, your whole life, really. It's like, wow, when you say it out loud, it really hits you. You know, how much energy you waste on things that are just never going to happen.
It's a common thing, really. I think we all go through it. We're so conditioned to push, push, push. But sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just walk away.
And it's not about failing, right?
Right.
It's about taking that energy, that effort, and putting it towards something that actually matters.
Exactly. Sometimes the smartest move is the one that feels wrong. You got to trust that there's a better way, even if you can't see it yet.
But that fear, right, the what if, that creeps in. The second you think about going off the beaten path, how do you deal with that?
Fear is natural. It's going to be there. But you don't got to let it control you. What helps me is shift the focus. Don't dwell on what you might lose. Think about what you could gain.
So instead of the negatives, all the bad stuff that could happen, you focus on the good stuff, the potential.
Exactly. Flip the script. Instead of what if it goes wrong, ask yourself, what if it's the best thing I ever do? What if it leads you to something amazing, something that really fits? That's your purpose.
It reminds me of how, like, our brains are wired for the negative, right? Always
Yep.
looking for danger, but you can actually train your brain to look for the good stuff, the opportunities.
Neuroplasticity, it's powerful stuff. You can literally rewire your thinking, create new pathways in your brain that help you grow.
So instead of getting stuck in that fear, you choose to see the good side of walking away. Imagine yourself actually thriving in this new chapter.
And the more you do it, the easier it gets. You strengthen those pathways in your brain. It gets easier to trust yourself, to take those leaps.
I'm seeing how this all connects now. It's not just about ending something. It's about making space for something new, trusting yourself to let go and be open to what comes next.
Surrender and trust. Let go of the old, make room for the new. And, you know, the best stuff often comes when you're brave enough to step into the unknown.
It makes me wonder if there's a link between this whole idea of walking away and self-respect.
Oh, absolutely. Self-respect is the foundation. When you value yourself, you can see when something is hurting you, draining you, when it's messing with your values.
So self-respect gives you that strength to set boundaries, to say no, to walk away from anything that isn't good for you.
Yes. It's about knowing your worth, not settling for less. And it's not about ego. It's about believing in yourself deep down.
And I bet that kind of confidence, that inner strength, it attracts the right people, the right opportunities.
It's like you're sending a signal to the universe, right? I deserve better. And the universe, it listens. It brings you what you need, what truly aligns with you.
Raise your vibration, attract good things. And it all starts with taking care of yourself, putting yourself first, walking away from anything that's holding you back.
You got it. Walking away, it's an act of self-love. Realizing you deserve to be happy, to be fulfilled, to have people and experiences that lift you up.
Sometimes the simplest ideas are the most powerful. This whole concept of letting go, trusting yourself to choose a different path, it's pretty amazing.
It's a process, for sure. You won't always get it right. There will be doubts. But the more you pay attention to yourself, the more you're willing to step outside that comfort zone, the more power you have to create the life you want.
And, I think a big part of it is letting go of needing everyone to agree with you. It's so easy to get caught up in what other people think, but at the end of the day, it's your life.
So important. When you're always seeking approval, you give away your power. You become dependent on what other people think, and you lose your own inner compass.
It's like you're letting someone else drive your car. And then you're surprised when you end up somewhere you don't want to be.
It's about taking back control. Remembering that you're the one in charge. You get to decide what matters, what success means, what path you take.
And I can only imagine how freeing that must feel. To know you have the choice, you can change direction, walk away from anything that's not serving you.
It is incredibly liberating. It's about stepping into your power. You get to create a life that feels right, that brings you joy, that is truly fulfilling.
As we're talking, I'm realizing that walking away doesn't have to be this huge dramatic thing. Sometimes it's about the little changes, setting boundaries, or even just shifting how you see things.
That's a great point. It's all about balance. Holding on, letting go, pushing forward, surrendering. Sometimes you got to walk away completely. Other times it's about finding a new way to relate to the situation.
So it's about paying attention to how you feel, trusting your gut to lead you to the right path, the one that feels authentic.
Exactly. Be the one who's creating your life, not just reacting to it. And sometimes the best way to create is to let go.
This has been so insightful. It feels like we've only just begun to explore this idea of walking away.
And there's so much more. We've talked about self-respect, boundaries, not worrying so much about what others think. But what about actually doing it? How do you have those tough conversations? How do you deal with the doubts, the uncertainty, the feelings of loss?
Those are great questions, and I'm really interested to dig into that in our next segment. Okay, so we're back, and we're really getting into the nitty-gritty here, the how-to of walking away, because it's easy to say, yeah, this isn't working, but actually doing it, that's a whole other thing.
It is, definitely. I think the hardest part is all the emotions that come up.
Yeah.
Guilt, obligation, that fear of the unknown.
It's like you're standing at the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
You got to jump, but it's scary.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's the fear of letting other people down. You worry about hurting their feelings, messing things up.
Right, you don't want to just disregard everyone else.
Yeah.
But how do you balance that with doing what's right for you?
Tough one, right. No easy answer. But you got to remember, you can't control how other people react. You can only control yourself, your actions. And just try to be clear, be kind when you explain your decision.
So it's about owning your choices,
Mm.
while also recognizing that other people might see things differently.
Exactly. And sometimes those conversations, they're going to be tough, especially if there's like a lot of codependency or you're afraid of conflict. But honesty, open communication, that's key to any healthy relationship.
Makes me think about all those times I stayed in a bad situation because I felt obligated. Like I was so worried about keeping everyone happy, I forgot about myself.
It happens all the time. It's that belief that, your worth comes from pleasing others. But it doesn't. Your worth, it's just there inside you. It doesn't come from what other people think.
So when you walk away from trying to meet everyone else's expectations, that's actually a way of loving yourself.
Absolutely. You're taking back your power, choosing to take care of yourself. And sometimes that's the kindest thing you can do for everyone involved.
I like that. It's not selfish. It's about recognizing you can't give what you don't have. You got to fill your own cup first.
Exactly. And that leads us to another important thing: how to deal with the loss, the grief.
Because even when you know it's the right choice,
Yeah.
it still hurts, right? There's
Yeah.
that sadness, that missing what could have been or what was.
You got to let yourself feel those feelings. Don't try to push them down, pretend they're not there. That just makes it harder to heal.
So it's about acknowledging the pain, letting yourself grieve.
Yes. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just sit with those feelings. Don't judge them, don't fight them. Just be with them.
Like creating a safe space for them to come up, be seen, and then eventually let go.
It's surrender. Let go of the need to control everything. And in that surrender, you find peace, acceptance.
Reminds me of the power of silence. We're always surrounded by noise outside and in our heads. But sometimes the real healing, it happens in the quiet.
Silence is a good friend on this journey. It helps you connect with your inner voice, your intuition, helps you get clear on what really matters.
Like turning down the volume on everything else
Mm.
so you can hear your own heart.
And in that stillness, that's where you find the strength to keep going, to move forward with grace, with resilience.
This has been such an amazing conversation. I feel like we've been given a whole new set of tools to deal with life, to create something real, something true.
It's been a joy sharing these ideas with you. And I hope everyone listening has gotten something valuable from this, something to help them on their own journey of walking away.
Remember, walking away, it's not weak, it's strong. It's about choosing yourself, knowing your worth, building a life that reflects who you really are. So until next time, keep diving deep and trust yourself to walk away from anything that's holding you back.